Hi, it's Laura at Aquamarine18. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. Welcome or welcome back. I'm here today with a quick VR to be over at Ikale Sunflower, who has started the tag Circular Decks, which is exactly what it sounds like, a tag celebrating decks that happen to be round. And B has shared 5 questions with us, so I'll put those questions below and timestamp my video. So, question number 1 is, what draws you to circular decks? And I have a few circular decks. The last question is to show them, so I will be doing that. What draws me to circular decks, really, and it's not much of an explanation, is that I just really like decks that are unusual shapes in general. So I really like the Algenblick Tarot being square. I really like the Luminous Void Tarot being kind of an oval shape. I really like the kind of long, narrow-shaped cards like in La Courte de Tarocchi, or the Borderless Deviant Moon even is kind of a bit of a strange, long rectangular shape. I just like an unusual shape in a deck. So when I see one, I will give the deck a second look, and that has resulted in me owning several round decks. Question number 2 is, what challenges do you find that circular decks present? And I could think of 2 challenges that circular decks present, one of which is awkward shuffle. I probably drop them more. I don't know if that's actually statistically true, but I suspect that it is. Particularly the round decks, there's one in particular that is quite large. It can be a hard shuffle. The other challenge I think that circular decks present for me is that my reading table, I pretty much read in the same place all the time in my house when I'm reading for myself. My reading table, of course, is of a finite size, and round cards don't fit together in the way that rectangular ones do, right? Either there's gaps between them or they have to overlap quite substantially. So with some of these round decks, I have the challenge that I can fit fewer cards on my table without overlapping than I would if I had a rectangular deck or some other shape like a hexagonal deck where the cards would line up together without having space in between. Question number 3, how many circular decks do you have in your collection? I have 5, which I will show you. Question number 4, what is your most recent circular deck purchase? And this is going to go into question 5, which is show us your round decks. So my most recent circular deck purchase, I went and looked at the dates that I've purchased things, and that would be Sawyer's Nature Portals. This is by Jamie Sawyer, who's also the creator of a number of other decks like the Pocket of Peers Tarot and several others. I think that she has a Lenormand as well and another tarot, quite a few. So the Nature Portals is an animal deck, and the round shape is spoken to by the title of Portals. These are the backs. It's a cool design. And the frame is like a portal to seeing these beautiful animals. The deck came in a kind of matte gray edging. And it came with a separate kind of ebook guide. And so these cards, you can see, don't have any names on them, but inside the box, there is a list of all of the animals that are in the deck. And while, the cards are not labeled, the animals are, types of animals that are sufficiently different from each other that you can look at the list and easily tell which card it is, right? You're not going to mistake a cow for a black bear, right? So they don't really need titles. And I quite like this deck. This very much feels like a deck of North American animals. There's quite a number of more domesticated animals in here as well. And I like this deck. There are 52 cards. So that's my most recent round deck, Sawyer's Nature Portals. And I should put all the cards back in the box and not just some. I have 4 others to show you. I think 3 of which Bea has in her collection too. So I'll show those ones first. I have 2 copies of the Gorgon's Tarot, which I made these red and black houndstooth drawstring bags for. And the only difference between the 2 is the size, so I will only show 1. For folks who are not familiar with Gorgons, you might be surprised that this one is the mini version. The other one is huge. The original one is huge. It's a hard shuffle. It's sticky shiffer cardstock. And it has this amazing aesthetic of being made on a computer, but not recently. I really like this deck. It feels like a very DIY. It definitely has a feminist kind of sensibility to it. It has definite kind of Smith-Waite influences, but is also kind of its own thing in a lot of ways. And the large one came with a guidebook. The small one just came on its own. I've had the large deck for quite a number of years. It was an early addition to my collection. And this was my first round deck. So the Sawyer's Nature Portals was most recent. Gorgons was first. I also have Kim Cran's The Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. And this deck, I don't know about this deck. I'm challenged by this deck. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this deck might... No. It's not going to end up being a rehomed deck because there's a couple of cards in here that are really special to me. I don't read with this deck. What I use this deck for more is putting out a card that I want to, I don't know, perhaps manifest that quality or amplify that quality in myself, or maybe do the opposite. Or I might set out one of these cards to be, representative of a theme of a reading that I'm doing. So when I use this deck, I don't shuffle it and draw cards. I tend to be choosing a card deliberately by going through and looking at the cards and looking at the titles and looking at the images. Beautiful crone card. And so I'll go through and look deliberately to find a card that I would like to explore in some way, with divination with another deck often. And then I will put it out as a kind of visual focal point, more so than doing a reading with. I love the forest card. I go camping a lot, and so this card I really love. And there's there's another card. There's a card in here that is very special to me. There's plenty of cards that I like aesthetically. Obviously, the one that I like is going to be the last because I'm trying to find it to show you. I love, because it reminds me of me and my partner, I love this one. The heart. I love this one. So, I'm not sure if this will be a deck that I will ever read with, but I do enjoy picking cards out of it. So, that's the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. And I have her Animal Spirit Oracle as well, and I use that deck quite a bit. I really like the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit. The last deck I have comes in a custom painted one-of-a-kind box, which my friend was kind enough to send me because of having two. And this is by Cedar McLeod, who is, of course, the creator of the Numinous Tarot and the Threadbound Oracle as well. I really like their work and their decks, and this one is no exception. This is the Uncertain Oracle, a deck for exploration in uncertain times. This is the back. And these are very abstract cards with keywords on them. So this one, I can't tell if you can read that or not, but that says small magic, music, desert, self-compassion. And I adore this deck. I have done some really great and impactful readings with only this deck, like not paired with a tarot or anything. The one that sticks out most recently, I was I'll make a video actually about this, I think, at some point, but I was exploring, working on learning about and building a connection with a particular animal, and to figure out what animal that was going to be, I did a reading with this deck, and I ended up like really making an enduring connection. I find this deck very versatile. The colors are brighter than the camera suggests. My only quibble with this deck is that on some of them, like you can see here, the text is quite hard to pick out. And like, it's not hard to pick out just because the camera is the way that it is. It's also just like the color of the card versus the thinness of the font can make some of them a little bit difficult. But I love the keyword assortment. I love the colors. This is like my favorite, all of my favorite colors. Kind of jewel tones in one place. So this is a deck that I love, and a favorite round deck for sure. The Uncertain Oracle by Cedar McLeod. So that is question number 5 done. That's all of my round decks. The Uncertain Oracle, Gorgon's Tarot, Small and Large, Sawyer's Nature Portals, and the Archetypes, Wild Unknown Archetypes. That's my circular deck collection. I'm looking forward to seeing more folks respond to the VR and learning about round decks that I've never seen before. Thank you to B for starting this tag, which is a fun one. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.